What's good, YouTube? Infamous Ghost Money here, and today we're going to be taking a look at some financial fraud arrests and news. The purpose of this video is to shed light on some of these common financial fraud techniques, see how they're executed in real life, the penalties for doing them, and of course, how you can stay one step ahead of these fraudsters and protect your hard-earned money. This is a new series on financial fraud that I'm putting together, so if you find value in the video, please hit that like button, and I'm open to all feedback in the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can add some quality and informative financial content to your YouTube timeline. Lastly, nothing in this video is legal advice. I am not a legal professional. This is strictly for entertainment and informational purposes. So with that being said, let's get right into it. The U.S. Department of Justice is responsible for enforcing the law at a federal level and releases news on different financial crimes that are committed throughout the United States. I reviewed the financial fraud news articles for the month of October, and the most interesting 3 cases we're going to be discussing involve cell phone account takeovers that impacted over 300 victims throughout the United States, a check and fraud ring that led to losses of more than $250,000, and finally, a bank employee that was part of an inside job that led to over $300,000 in losses. So let's waste no time, let's jump right into it with the first case involving cell phone account takeovers. On October 4th, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York announced that defendant Henry Perez pled guilty to leading a multi-year cell phone account takeover fraud conspiracy in order to fraudulently obtain smartphones and other electronic devices that he charged to compromised accounts. From June 2017 to December 2019, Perez and others ran a fraud ring that committed cell phone account takeovers and identity theft. These individuals ran a well-organized scheme that had several layers involved in executing it successfully. Based on the court documents, they did this by starting off with stolen identity information that they used to impersonate cell phone account holders and contacted the victim's cell phone providers to pull off a SIM swap fraud. SIM swap fraud is when fraudsters take control of a victim's cell phone account, which allows a scammer to get past 2-factor authentication as well as intercept important bank alerts. Once they would get access, they would proceed to purchase expensive electronic devices that they would have shipped directly to themselves, or they would cook up some fake IDs and pick up the devices in person. According to the court documents, they pulled off these schemes in several states including New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Florida, and throughout the time of the scheme, they attempted over $1 million in theft and successfully got away with stealing 470 devices with a worth of over $500,000. Perez pled guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. This is a classic example of an account takeover and social engineering, and there are a couple of proactive steps that you could take to defend against this fraud technique. First off, contact your phone provider and ask them about the options they provide against SIM swap fraud. Some of the most common options is adding a security code that must be used before any changes are made on your account. Additionally, you can ask about having your phone provider reach out to an authorized third person before any changes are made on your account as an extra layer of defense against account takeovers. The good thing for consumers is it's pretty easy most of the time to tell if someone was indeed a victim of a cell phone account takeover, so your provider should cover you for any losses you incur, but it's still a pain to deal with. So the next case we're going to discuss involves check and card fraud. On October 5th, the District of New Jersey announced Alexander Varis of South Orange, New Jersey, was sentenced to 21 months in prison for his role in a conspiracy to defraud 2 banks out of more than $250,000 using stolen credit cards and bank checks. From August 2018 through January 2020, Varis and his co-conspirators engaged in a scheme to use stolen credit cards and checks to fraudulently make purchases and withdraw money from 2 banks. They managed to steal bank cards and personal checks from various USPS sorting facilities and post offices, and once they had the cards in hand, they called up the banks, impersonated the account holders to get the cards activated. Now, once the cards were activated, they proceeded to make purchases at retail stores and withdraw at numerous ATMs. They would also attempt to launder the money by purchasing postal money orders with stolen cards that they would then deposit into their own accounts or other money mule accounts from people they recruited through social media. With the personal bank checks they stole, they would alter the amounts and payees and also deposit those checks into willing participants to the scam accounts. According to the case documents, the members of this ring were caught on surveillance on multiple occasions using stolen cards at stores, withdrawing from ATMs, and attempting to cash bad checks. When it all came crashing down, the total losses from the scheme exceeded $1.3 million. Now, the individuals involved in this case used social engineering to trick bank customer service in order to get access to victims' card accounts and were able to successfully alter personal checks that they then had their ways with. The best way to defend against being a victim of this type of scam is very simple. Stop using checks. Many businesses now offer options to have money sent directly to your account, which is also known as an ACH transaction. This will make it a lot harder to have your money stolen from scammers. And when it comes to bank cards, always have account alerts set up so you are notified when cards are activated in your name or even when transactions are done on your account. Use your online banking features to lock your card immediately if you see any unauthorized charges on your account and dispute it with your bank ASAP. If you are expecting a bank card in the mail, the standard delivery time could be 7 to 10 business days. If it takes any longer than that, contact your bank immediately and get the card deactivated. You do not want to have a bunch of random unactivated cards just floating around. And lastly, if you do need to get a replacement card, ask your bank about secure mailing options that require the package to be signed for. This will allow you to have more control over when you should be receiving your debit and credit cards. Now, let's move on to the last case involving bank employee fraud. On October 22nd, the Massachusetts U.S. Attorney's Office sentenced a former bank teller for her role in a scheme to fraudulently obtain funds from customer accounts. Valnardia Novas was sentenced by the U.S. Senior District Court to 1 year of home confinement and 2 years of supervised release. Novas was also ordered to pay restitution of $341,000 and forfeiture of $27,000. In this case, Novas took advantage of her position in the bank and allowed fraudsters to come in posing as actual bank customers and knowingly completed transactions using fake identification documents against customer accounts. According to the case documents, Novas was caught on video surveillance multiple times working with this fraud ring, issuing out official checks ranging up to as high as $92,000 and also processing multiple withdrawals ranging up to as high as $10,000. These fraudsters ran this scheme and managed to steal over $300,000 in customer funds in a range of just 2 months. According to the court documents, on July 16, 2019, Novas was investigated by the FBI where she fessed up to the entire scheme and admitted that she knowingly facilitated the fraudulent withdrawals against the bank customers' accounts. And she also admitted she was paid up to $40,000 to $60,000 for her participation in the overall scheme. In this case, a bank employee was attracted to the fast life and got caught chasing it just as fast. The unfortunate reality of this case is bad apples working in financial positions run schemes similar to this without thinking about how easy it is to get caught all the time. This is also why it's important as a consumer you are not overly trustworthy of bank employees or financial advisors. No matter how nice a service worker may be, always keep close track of your accounts and never share any personal information with people you are receiving a service from. Additionally, these insiders are always looking for accounts that have money with minimal activity. This will allow them to easily steal money without the account holder catching wind of it. To avoid getting caught in a scam like this, it is important that you review your bank statements on a monthly basis and also set up online banking so you can receive your bank statements online. By monitoring your accounts regularly, you can notify your bank the moment you spot anything that is not looking right. Also, it's not a good idea to have so many accounts that you get to a point that you forget about them. It could be hard to keep track of multiple accounts that are spread out between a bunch of different banks. So if you fall into this category, it may be a good idea to consolidate your accounts to 1 to 2 banks unless you're ready to actively monitor a bunch of accounts on a regular basis. So, these were only 3 out of the hundreds of financial crimes that the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI catch on a monthly basis. And even with that, it doesn't seem like financial fraud is slowing down anytime soon. So I hope you got some value from this video and seeing how these fraudsters pull off these different schemes in real life, and the tips I shared with you will help you in protecting your hard-earned money. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel so you can keep catching my content on financial fraud and the best ways to stay ahead of it. Also, leave a comment if you ever dealt with anything similar to the cases I went over in this video. Stay tuned for the next video recap I drop on financial fraud and how to stay ahead of it. So with that being said, peace.